too. Yeah, 2026, I know the feel this. Baby, I know you feel what? Yeah, I know you feel this. Grab the mic up and show my mean man Swift styles coming through like this. Fuck around, it's a death wish. Niggas know they pass the mic and yo, I gotta smoke. Coming through like this.
Peace, what's good, y'all? It's your brother God Science. What's up? Shout out, salute to the few that do watch the videos and subscribe. Appreciate y'all, true indeed. Yes, I cannot rap. I do it for fun. My rhymes just played out like Kwame and them polka dots. No disrespect to Kwame. Salute to Kwame. Heard he's coming out with an album anyway. But anyway, 1993. A while back not even a while back, I put up a video about, was 1993 the second greatest year of hip hop? And in my opinion, yes, and I'll tell y'all why. Of course, the whole 90s era I consider the golden era of hip hop. But 1993 was a major year because a lot of incredible albums came out that year. And it set the precedent for a whole different type of hip hop. All right. We all know one of the biggest albums that dropped that year was Enter the 36 Chambers, and that changed the whole era of hip hop. I mean, I remember when I was in Brooklyn at the time, and my brother, he came down here in Florida, and he got his girl, so he was like whooped, right? So, you know, my mom and pops got a divorce, so, you know, we would go to school in New York, and then for summertime we would come down here in Florida. So he so whooped, he don't want to go back to Florida, to New York. So I was going back to New York. I was the connect for like what they was wearing, what, you know, what's the new what's the new song that they're playing, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'll call them and let them know. I'll be taping, you know, Red Alert. I'll be taping Flex and sending him down the tapes, because down here back then in the 90s, it was a little bit slower down here in Orlando. It was a little bit slower. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be sending him the new stuff. And I remember when Protect Your Neck came out, and I'm telling this dude, I'm like, yo, Wu-Tang, bro, Wu-Tang. And imagine hearing the name Wu-Tang for the first time. Like, really. You're like, they started laughing at me. They're like, Wu-Tang, what the hell is that? They thought it was like, I think I told this story before. They thought it was the Booyah Tribe. I don't know if you remember the Booyah Tribe. It was a group that was back in the West Coast in the 90s. There was a group called the Booyah Tribe, man. And he thought it was, I was talking about that, but I'm like, nah, Wu-Tang, bro, Wu-Tang. Because that's all they were playing. Every car that passed by, every dude that was walking with a radio was playing that Protect Your Neck. And I'm telling this dude that these dudes is coming. And eventually, I sent them the song. Eventually, when I came back, of course, they dropped the album, Into the 36 Chambers. And, you know, we was on it. So that album, when it dropped, it changed hip hop, man. It changed hip hop. Also during that, there was so many albums like Enter the Stage. You know what I'm saying? Black Moon. I remember when I went and got Into the Stage. And Into the Stage, I got a funny story about that. That was the one album I didn't get it the first play. Normally, when I play an album that's dope, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is dope. But that album, it was so different. And so, it was so deep and so different. Like, I played it the first time. It was dope. It wasn't whack, but I didn't get it. I was like, the beats was just so, it was so left. It was dark, but it was left. It was different. And I remember I kept playing it over, and every time I played it, I heard something different. Until one time I played it and I listened to the original, not the remix, the original Buck 'Em Down. come on, y'all. If anybody out there who knows about the era I'm talking about, that original Buck 'Em Down, yo, that sample, when I heard that shit, I was like, yo, these dudes ain't playing. So it's an album that grew on you, and every time you played it, it got better and better. Just a pure sign of a classic. You know what I'm saying? It got better and better and better to like, yo, you know, and that's when I started smoking weed around that time. And you know, when you first started smoking weed, you were more into the music, so I was into that, you know. And that was another album that was major was Gang Starr, Hard to Earn. I remember my boy Charlie, shout out to Charlie, I don't know where you at, but shout out to you, bro. He came to me and he was like, yo, you heard Gang Starr new song? And that was, you know, Mass Appeal, which got to be one of the most greatest, when you talk about all hip-hop, you know, greatest tracks, Mass Appeal is up in there, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, and he's telling me about this, so you gotta hear Gang Starr new album. Now I remember at the time, Gang Starr was considered like they were putting them in that jazz, because they were sampling a lot of jazz at that time, you know what I'm saying, in 93. You know, Diggable Planets, can't forget them, they came out, you know what I'm saying? That album was dope. But they were putting them in that category of jazz, and they still sample jazz, but Hard to Earn, I think, was the breakout for you know, DJ Premier. It was the breakout because that album, the beats were just different from Daily Operation. It was totally different, and it was like some, damn, Premier's on some shit, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we got, the Taste of J. Rule, you know what I'm saying? The Dirty Rotten Scandals, they were coming, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Group Home made an appearance on there. So Hard to Earn was a big change, like you know, a big statement in Gang Starr. And this is all in 93. Then you got, you know, Midnight Marauders. Up to this day, we could sit here and argue all day. Is Low End Theory better or Midnight Marauders? And I remember when I first heard We on the World Tour, and I remember Flex mixed it in, and I'm like, yo, you know, they just came off of Low End Theory, which is probably one of the greatest albums in hip hop history. And these dudes, you would think that they would fell off. No, they came back harder again. When I heard it, I'm like, yo. And then we went and got the album. There wasn't no skipping on that album, man. It was like, yo, these dudes, I mean, The Nighttime has to be one of my favorite songs. It just encapsulates the nighttime, listening to me, you know, that's a dope song, man. You know what I mean? But the whole album was dope, but The Night Is on the Mind. I remember when I heard that, I was like, yo, these dudes, they just seemed they was just getting better and better and better until, in my opinion, they stopped and started forming that the Umar or whatever the hell production, instead of just letting Q-Tip do the music like they were normally doing it. They went and got and put too much cooks in the and you know, the other album, Beats, Rhyme, and like this is a disappointment to me. Now they got some high songs on it, but it wasn't as impactful as Midnight Marauders, man. You know, up to this day, I still listen to that album. But yes, 1993, man, I argue has to be one of the second greatest. It just changed. It was a time. It was an explosion of creativity at that time. You know what I'm saying? We can't forget Scarface. Did The Diary come out in 93 or 94? Not even I forgot that Scarface album. I know Scarface dropped the album around that time, which was dope, which got me into listening to Scarface, and then I went back and listened to his back catalog. But there was a lot of albums dropping in 93, man. 93 was a great, amazing year for hip-hop creativity up the whoop. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, what y'all think I probably forgot. I'll be here all night, thinking of all day. You know, doing this 90s. But y'all tell me what y'all think, man. It's your brother God Science, man. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace.